Shirley here with Sirius Taurus Moon. This is soul night, and the sun is 11 degrees Virgo. And I want to talk about, with Mercury, the ruler, just leaving the square to Uranus. I want to talk about Uranus delving one last time into Taurus and the very particular type of separations and divorces that are happening around that. The last 3 degrees of Taurus have to do with the decan of spirit and matter. And I remind people something that I wrote on my Instagram. And I don't have Instagram right now, perhaps because I wrote that. And it says, the sky that punishes the land loses the mandate of the heaven, be it now or we the people. And the sky god is Uranus, some associated with Enki and even with Nike. Okay? I don't know if that's true, but some people associate the brand Nike to Enki. Uranus is an earth sign. The type of divorces we're going to have are going to be around that loss of the mandate of the heaven. They're going to be around the currency change. They're going to be divorces between people that go a certain agenda and go a certain way, and people that divorce that agenda. The couples that separate on that basis are going to have very chaotic separations. Because this is the separation. When they talked about the splitting timelines and the earth is splitting, it is the separation between those who are more aligned, related to golden ages, which means if you think about the dark ages and the golden ages, then the golden ages have this beautiful balance. Healthy yang, healthy yin, balancing each other, is to have harmony that in Kali Yuga, I think it's called Kali Yuga, which is the dark ages, look like utopia. But it's actually basis. Our body does not function, and when people who learn more types of holistic medicine, they learn to pay attention to the many things that are well functioning in nature, in our bodies. For a person, I don't know, your pet, your cat scratches you, okay? You naturally heal. You can put some lavender, but other than that, you naturally heal. That works perfectly. Doesn't mean you don't need medicine other than that. But it also means that the people who are just more aligned with the awareness that what people call utopia or unachievable utopia is simply the basis. And it's not a utopia and it's not an ideology, it's just simple awareness. Hey, with Uranus, hey, if there's not willing consent in intimacy, even during self-pleasure, which is very Taurus, it's just gonna be yeasty. And how do you combat yeasty? Well, you bring in the good probiotics, but also willing consent. You begin to take the time, you begin to rest, you begin to stop expecting yourself even. Then it starts smelling good down there. And so when people think that they can trade sex, they try to maneuver with technology over something that the basis for what is needed is not there, and they expect not to be assassinated. Okay, talking about the people who are on the paying side, or the handlers that think that they are on the receiving side, of the kill the handlers program. And so this is the deacon that balances spirit and matter. And so those who are more aligned with the wisdom of the golden ages, they are divorcing the people who are not aligned with that. And this is going to be very, very challenging, because the other part of the world is seeing golden ages as a faraway utopia, whether it's just the basis and that people are just channeling, or people are just channeling, or simply more aligned with awareness that, hey, that doesn't need to be that complicated. And that's the clear cognizance of Uranus in Taurus is, hey, that's actually simple. You have that Taurus friend where you try to find a solution, to find this, to find that. Have one of my parents is a Scorpio, and they would get entangled with all this transformation and this and that, and then I would say something, and they're like, damn, where was that all my life? Because Taurus has that embodied simplicity. It can be boring, but it's also that clear knowing that something is just simple. No, there's problem with the water. Fantastic, let's build half moons, reforest the area, then we also remineralize the area. We do something that stands the test of time, fixed earth, Uranus, technology. Yeah, I'm half mooning again when I'm talking about Uranus in Taurus. And we'll have water, food, everything. Doesn't work with those who want to go Kali Yuga, who want to go into the Dark Ages and enact the Dark Ages paradigms. For the Taurian, it's very simple. Have problem with the water? Well, look at this arid land. Let's build half moons there. We don't even have to plant anything. Wait for the rainy season. That's the Taurian embodied wisdom. And so the divorces and separations that happen, they're happening on the very basis that one of the partners is believing in some slavery cult that's going to have a subscription to oxygen, and the other partner is like, but it actually could be very simple. We could all have oxygen. We could all have land. We don't really need that. We could use the technology that actually creates something beautiful. Like half moons is a technology that creates evergreen forest. All you really have to do is not satanically ritually abuse infants. So sometimes less is more. And so the divorces on the basis of this are going to be divorces that leave people that were reliant on being the normal family man, for whom divorce is a failure, or who is subscribed to a lady or buying or purchasing somebody to make it look like they have the appearance and the other partner does not renew the subscription. And now what? They were reliant on having the looks of common traditional family, married forever, see, people like me with Uranus in the 10th house, we have no issue with that. It's kind of like, and so they were reliant on having a certain image. And now there's nobody to fill in for that place because people don't want to go with that agenda. Why would anybody want to be with a person that all they offer is something that is going to make them sick mentally, is going to make them sick physically, is eventually going to make them want to unalive themselves, or like nobody would want to go with that. And they can be the hottest thing ever. But it's their agenda. They're going Kali Yuga. They're going Dark Ages. I'm getting they're going oats. Well, they'll have to do something about it because it is the time in history where even the lodges do something about the lodges. And it's not in any way simple, but neither is living with the person that is married to treason and is more comfortable. If anything go wrong, they're more comfortable blaming their partner than blaming the cult that they're in, which is their friends, the people they've known all their lives, their colleagues, their... And it's also going to be divorcing from the attempts to isolate a person so that they will go along with something that they're not subscribed to. Because there are the people that are just going to go golden ages. They're carrying the frequency of the golden ages. And even though it's kind of like a 300-year cycle, where the dark ages are replaced, but this is a 300-year cycle because certain people carry the frequency of golden ages. Hey, that is simple. Hey, even when I please myself, I need to be educated, embodied, so I don't, hurt myself. Then with a partner, of course, that has to be. And the people that go Kali Yuga, that's not. And then there are the people that are going to masquerade themselves in one world religion that is just kind of like the Mormon trafficking base or the Haredi Jewish trafficking base. They're just traffickers. Who becomes Haredi Jew? Haredi, okay? I'm not talking about secular Jews. They can be all kinds of, like anybody. But the thing is, but those people that get caught on trafficking. They begin to dress penguin, and they continue to traffic from within the penguin society. Now, if Haredi people don't tend to that and don't abolish that, what happens is the person doesn't feel comfortable talking about being violated or raped within the Haredi community. That is something that is problematic. You can't just cry, anti-Christianism, or they're persecuting our Christianity when the Mormons are litigated. Same with the Jews, same with Islam, same with indigenous societies. People say, I'm pagan, I work with the Goetia, I work with the... Fantastic, abolish satanic ritual abuse. I know people that said, hey, Lucifer helped me to get out of, being molested. Amazing. As long as they don't come against people who are satanically ritually abused. And so here the divorces, they're going to have to do with, because Venus in 2030 is going to be in Sagittarius, which is religion. There are some people that go with the one world religion, sacrificing the fact that they're going to be trafficking themselves, whether the men or women, calling that marriage or calling that whatever, getting all yeasty, losing their ability to be fertile. And subscribing to the Volvo that they paid for. Will they owe nothing and be happy? I don't know. But then there are the people that carry the wavelength of the golden ages. They can say, I love Jesus, but if you put me in a situation that is abusive and you say, call on Jesus, I'm like, the where? You say, but now pray to Satan. I'm like, whatever. That's still you doing satanic abuse, or you doing ritual abuse of whichever religion. And all of what you build on that phony religion, whichever religion it is invalid. Because you tortured people to do that. Spirituality is not a commodity. People can buy talismans, they can buy a nice Bible, they can adorn altars, fantastic. But in essence, spirituality is not a commodity. And this is the deacon of Taurus, where it's spirit and matter. And when they try to commodify everything, there is the intricacy of the relations between spirit and matter lost in the way. It's not that we don't have payment for something, and it's not completely materialistic. Okay, an astrology reading is not completely, is that I don't give you a pile of gold for a pile of tin or something and have the equal, price rate. You give me more tin so it equals to the gold. No. And still there is an exchange of goods around spirituality. In Taurus, it's not okay. As long as that intricacy, where that unique intelligence, the sensual embodied intelligence, and to be very frank, whether somebody's yeasty down there or somebody's smelling good, can actually be not smelling good because of perfume, smelling good because they're loved, they're honored, they're respected, they're well nourished, both in bed, outside of bed, regardless of the marital status. That's the wisdom. That's the wisdom that Taurus has. For example, Libra sometimes is an air sign Venus. So Libra sometimes won't get it. It's an inconjunct with Taurus. There are certain things that a Libra won't get that a Venus Taurus is like, it doesn't smell good. Oh, smells lovely. And they don't necessarily know to explain how. And then the Libra will try to go into the science of things. Every time on a Venus level, because Venus rules women, every time something really real goes in Libra, is the annual argument of whether it's piss or squirt. if it is programming, that is going to be piss. If it's actually embodied, then people discover that there is more than piss to that. Both created in the kidneys, but this is the difference between what science tells you and what sniffing and trying and seeing in praxis actually yields on an embodied sense. And so there are going to be divorces on the basis of that. Particularly people that are going in this path, because Taurus is a fixed sign. And people that see anything on the level of success, winner or loser, and they will see like divorce as loser, they might really have a crisis. And very likely it is that view of winner or loser that got them to the situation of divorce in the first place. And when it gets to the ritual abuse societies, that runs even deeper. Taurus doesn't know the word whore. Libra will do reclaiming to slut shaming and make a kink out of it and have an intellectual play around the Madonna whore duality. Fantastic, intriguing, not at all as easy as it sounds because you have to satisfy the Libra. Taurus is like, doesn't smell good down there. Gets yeasty. Can we try that? Yeah. No, doesn't smell good. Doesn't work for me. With Taurus is very simple. Your kinks is group A, my kinks is group B. Okay? Only the part which is belonging to group A and group B, which also has like a yoni shape, that's what we can celebrate together. The rest maybe with other partners, I don't know. Taurus is very simple. And it's that simplicity, that lack of shame and shaming, that, Taurian embodied eureka of the union of spirit and matter and a connection to currency that brings a tower of cards on all the artificial agendas that are like the sky god punishing the land. Taurus doesn't carry a punitive facet to it. And so these divorces are also going to be very embarrassing because it's essentially very simple. And they're going to have to do also with the currency. Now, shout out to Clippy. Shout out to Clippy because Clippy has managed to bridge between the fact that people only agree to not see a person as psychotic when the problem is inches away from them, and the ability to still do something about it. And that's the subscription part. Now, when you try to commodify the Taurian things, You can only go as much as it's still smelling good down there, not artificially. Whenever something hits Taurus, you hear about, hey, remove the perfumes for a sec. Do you like each other's body odor? Or hey, a person that is happy and healthy has a certain scent, but a person who is afraid and anxious has a different scent. It's attraction and repelling. And then there are compatible scents and not compatible scents. Now, people are less offended by that the more embodied they are. And sometimes there can be separation on that basis as well, because those agendas don't really smell that good. And it's not something that one can hide with a perfume. Perfume is lovely. So when it comes to the Venusian, the relational, embodied intelligence, embodied clear cognizance, a lot of people are going to have the separations that we're having are the unsubscribing before one even subscribed. And that's what Clippy reminded us, that no, we can't live our lives with having to renew subscription to literally everything, including our nationality. Now the world is changing, of course, nationality and so, but that commodification of the everythingness is going to split the world in a way that some people would go with the agenda, and some people, whether they'll be within certain constraints that they never asked for or not, they're going to be bringing in the golden ages, because there's no convincing them that we shouldn't have just planted, or not planted, dug half moons or released some beavers to build dams and solve the water problem. It's like we have net zero airplanes. There's no reason for the air to be polluted. Somebody benefits from war, so people shouldn't go into austerity as a war policy. People don't like to hear that, but war is making money to people. There shouldn't be anybody paying the weight of war. So people will be unsubscribing, and also people won't be able to work. After war, everybody needs rest. Everybody needs housing first, to walk barefoot on the soil, to pet birds and, all these animals they bring for people to heal, to have their own space. Some people need to be in a safe space where they have noise sensitivity, and some people need to have some noise to balance the nervous system, and some people, and everybody needs to walk in and out freely and be able to walk during all the day and night hours and watch the sky and so on. I get and watch the sky, and people like, because I was sitting on the grass earlier, and there was something that looked like it's gonna explode in the sky, and I was just peaceful. And when you do astrology, you're like, there's always interested figures. And they were like observing my piece, and I'm like, what can I do? It's like, look at the sky. So probably there are gonna be some drones and stuff. Hey, the eclipse is eclipse. I talked about the eclipse. But the thing is that people after trauma, they need to relax and chill. They're also wiser. They understand that they were fighting over nothing. Already now, some IDF soldiers don't want to go to Gaza just before an operation. People in Kiev, people don't want to go to Kiev. People don't want to go to Ukraine. The army strikes instead of striking. Even before that, commanders were shooting at their soldiers so that the soldiers would go forward to the front, and then the soldiers began to kill their commanders. So most of the war was actually among those ranks. People are like, 5%, 5%. You got your 5%, let me talk. You'll target an individual as well with this MK Ultra. Come on. So, but this is exactly the thing, is some people are going to go with those Dark Ages programs, and some people are going to unsubscribe. And you know that passengers, like, imagine, in game theory, there is the battle of the sexes. And the special thing about the battle of the sexes is not a battle. So the husband wants to see a soccer game, and the wife wants to see a rom-com. Or eat sushi. Let's make it more relatable. Okay, eat sushi is a common ground, I understand. I don't know, something that the wife wants to do. So in battle of the sexes, they may decide that sometimes the woman is just gonna have to tolerate a soccer game, and sometimes the man's just gonna have to tolerate, sorry for being gender, how to say it, cisgender. The husband's gonna have to tolerate going and having sushi. And that's just life, okay? But you see, when it's something that is not tolerable, that he can't compromise on, that passenger is kind of like, why are you not cooperative? I never want to come here. These people, when you force people to work in a job that doesn't fit them, you see that a lot. But everybody needs to work, everybody needs money. Yeah, I'm trying to do my best, man. That's your best, that's my best. Then you see the people going 17 times to the bathroom. What's happening there? The person unalived themselves or something? What happened? Now, when that job is war, just this morning we woke up, IDF soldier killed himself in the north in a military base. Now, people can be satirical about Israel all they want. This war is a world war. It's not a local war. And from the river to the sea is no different than Ben Gvir. It's the same thing with the same G word. So the divorces and separations that we're going to see are simply around those topics. And the sky that punishes the land loses the mandate of the heaven, be it now or we the people. This is the beginning of the war of the lodges, which is what they call Gog Magog. Very simple. You treat the wife. See, I'll give you it in a sexist joke, so it's easy to understand. You treat the wife well, there is peace. You don't treat the wife well, there is Gog Magog. Very simple. Taurus. That sexist joke works. You treat the wife well, there is peace. You don't treat the wife well, it's Gog Magog. Treating the wife well is both in and out of bed. There has to be compatibility. If you're a member in some treason cult where you have to harm people and harm your loved ones and betray this and betray that, it's going to be divorce. And you won't be able to keep up the image of the family man, the traditional family man, without coming off as a Nazi that's going to be persecuted, even if you're Palestinian. Because Palestinians like not Irish and so on. So that is what I have to say about the Uranus divorce in the Venus sign Taurus. This is why it is so challenging. And you know, when an outer planet does the last steps in a sign, it marks the beginning of the next sign. Okay? And people have to think about sometimes these transitions. Because what you did, people talk about the karma of within a sign, which or the accumulation of actions. With Uranus, it's a bit unusual because it has a silly walk. It has a, it just shows us things that are unexpected because of the chaotic nature in which it works. But when you go from one sign to the other sign, think about Pluto. Pluto went from Capricorn to Aquarius. In Israel, that the mark was Hababunim Achofshim, okay, the free baboons. That's how they call them in 7th October. That's the people that told people to put Zion in the Kalpi and then arranged with Hamas kidnaps of people while trying to close the place that gives people allowance when they have a disability, like after a war when they have a post-trauma. Zion, 7 October, those graffitis. So what people thought that they are getting, that they are having this finalizing stage in Capricorn. Now, if people did Pluto in Capricorn well, they would have a good onset to Pluto in Aquarius. But if people were like, oh, we'll get at this person and and show this power demonstration, they set themselves up for a Pluto in Aquarius that they will not like the outcome of. And I better bet that they know it. Same with Uranus. Those who use the last degree of Uranus to really see how they get their embodied eurekas balanced of spirit and matter to lay the foundation for civil war clock. And this is what we all want to set the intention to be doing. Because when the clock strikes 12 and Uranus reingresses for good into Gemini, it's civil war clock. In the CIA, in Israel, in USA, in NAFO, many other countries. Particularly those around like 40, the mid-late 40s. Freaking CIA. When I talked about MK Ultra, and there was a whistleblower woman who was furious at me. It's like, but if you can't do anything about it, why do you want people to talk about it? Civil war clock in the CIA. That's MK Ultra. One would say I was on the money. I have Uranus in the 10th house, okay? Uranus in Sag, so it's this clear cognizance about, when I do astrology, it's like, even my colleagues would get like, those weird, because I talk like a normal person, humble person, then I see a chart. Something comes out of me. And I was just speaking to a person that had like, they were doing astrology when I might not have been in the making, and I was just like, what happened to me? Where did it come from? That's Uranus in the 10th house. It's okay. Okay. So it is. And some people never got used to that. That's okay. So those last degrees of Uranus, and you see the challenge is because Uranus is trining Pluto, it can give the illusion that the ability to somewhat control chaos or to somewhat have that chaos under or understanding the power mechanisms around that chaos, that is somehow going to last forever. It's not. Because Uranus goes through 7 years in Gemini, while Pluto will only be dabbling into like maybe the 7th degree of Aquarius. Those that are still looking at the trine with Uranus and Pluto and like, oh, we got this. Those people that rebel, we got this. We got this. We just need to reinstall this. We got this. Uranus tends to turn over things. Okay, when I was doing Uranus Beta per se, and I was thinking about, the missing children or sexual boundary violation, I was like, I had no idea I would run into banking systems, boys raping boys that will later become elite and so on. Like, oh, those are the missing children that nobody came to save. That's Uranus Beta per se. Or that they want to robotify people. Uranus itself would rebel that. That's the point. Because while Uranus can be very unnerving in Taurus because it looks at the sensual and at the Taurian as this sensory playground, with curiosity, and this is also where the traumas are, because where Uranus is where the traumas are. But Uranus itself rebels Uranus. The point is to liberate. And so those that use the last degree of Uranus in Taurus and trying to lean into the fact that yes, with Pluto there is the trine Pluto is some sense of controlled opposition, controlled rebellion. That's not going to last for the coming 7 years. And again, same as with Pluto, okay? Or those that took Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is challenging because Neptune is kind of like where we surrender things. But those that were trying to somehow act on the mysterious, it's like they're setting themselves up for a Neptune in Aries that's going to be leaking of all the things that went Pisces, that went into the mystery. It's the battle that comes out of the ocean, and it has a message that is very peculiarly, incredibly relevant for just Neptune in 0 degree Aries. It's just that message in a bottle that we get from Neptune in 29 degrees Pisces is going to be exactly what we need for Neptune in 0 degree Aries. Now again, the more people try to control, even with Pluto, it's about authenticity and getting to the core of the issue. Now, this is where the separations are really going to be separations. It's those who go Dark Ages, Kali Yuga, they're just going to go one direction with those implications. But those who bring in Golden Ages, their arguments are just going to be more centered, because Pluto has a magnetizing quality. And you see that a lot with people that were in situations that felt even helpless, how they began to, with the isolation, long for and manifest. And with the Pluto, they began to become more authentic about the essence of their true wants and needs. And that authenticity, first of all, brought them to another place or to another setting. And this is how also we work with Pluto. Pluto is about authenticity. And the people that do the tedious job of not falling into the fragmentations, and again, I'm not talking about those extreme cases, which are also part of the equation, but even within those cases that are somewhat extreme, a person knows they have their authentic self, and they know that this is a scorpionic archetype where, you know, the Scorpios that say, hey, I know I deserve better than this, I know I should be treated better than this, and eventually they will have this cycle within themselves, knowing that there's going to be a separation, and then they would get hopefully to the place that they're where they wanted to be. Or they'll have a reckoning of like, oh, that was the shadow work that was needed. So it's not coming from a sense of entitlement, it's coming from a sense of clear knowing, hey, that is not a situation that I see myself living in. Now imagine those cults and societies that see large segments of societies as not free. what the form of reckoning. Okay? I think that that's the last two bits I have to say about Uranus and Taurus. And it's going to set the stage. Now, because it's trining Pluto, there's still going to be the illusion that chaos can be maintained and controlled, and it's still going to be running with controlled oppositions. Now, a lot of people on a political level are going to have the forks in the road, because definitely within several years we're going to see who are the people that, let's say, separated themselves from Davos and were people pleasing with certain something, and then they have the fork in the road. Are they going to play that, oh, well, I was controlled opposition, I fooled all of you? Or are they going to say that, hey, that was people pleasing for me to begin with, I don't want that Davos thingy? And it's going to be their choice and their authentic self in there, which and it might be very surprising even to them what they will choose. We cannot predict that ahead of time. Because people are liberating, and then they're going to have to say, hey. And for some people it might be because some of these people might come out as completely surprising, and the people that were reliant on them to be control opposition would be surprised. And even them might even surprise themselves. And some people the other way around. And we really don't know which is which and where it's going to be. Civil War o'clock, 7 years Uranus in Gemini, is not a time, although in 2030 we do have a Ketu on that Uranus, I would not rely that by 2035, let's say when Ra will be more to the direction of Virgo, not even, I think it's going to be almost Gemini. Because it takes a 12, oh, it's going to be Gemini, it's going to be the nodal reversal. So by 2035, 2035 is going to be around Virgo numbers. It's going to be around Virgo. I wouldn't be so reliant that that 2030 thing is going to hold. We see the square in the eclipse axis right now. We're going to see what happened in 2030. I might take seriously the suggestion to look at the sky. With all those eclipses and all those planes, I'm getting in. I'm going to answer my mama. Maybe there's a woo.